Okay. Hello, and let's start today with doing some Google Search Console report template. We're going to connect to the API and end up doing this report, which is a pure HTML file that can be emailed, shared, and so on. So this is, as you know, last time we talked about how to create presentations and documents using Quarto. So these are the settings of this document. Okay, the theme is darkly, link color is teal blue, echo false means don't show the code cells, just show the outputs of these code cells. Anchor text sections is this. When you hit like this, you have an anchor here. You can navigate throughout the page. Table of contents true, table of contents location, put them on the left, right, or in the middle of the body. Embed resources, this makes it a standalone HTML file. Okay, if you fit this to false, then you would have a folder here that has some images and JavaScript and so on. But this makes it like just one HTML file. And you have, page layout options. Sometimes it's like part of the page or full layout and so on. So the first step is you have to already have an application on the Search Console API configuration dashboard. This is a separate topic. There's a lot of videos and content about this. Eventually, you in order to authenticate and log in, you download a JSON file, something like this, and you call it client config, and then you create an account and you authenticate. Then you have to click and approve, and then you're kind of like logged in. Okay, so my web property is this, which is the documentation page website for AdverTools. It's a very small website, about 50 URLs, low traffic, but it's as an example. So the main thing that I did is I created a bunch of, got the last days of every month, and for every date, sorry, these are the last days. So for every one of these, this is the main piece of code that's interesting, which is we take the web property and we run a query. The range is date, which is January, February, March. We go back -1 months. This could be days, quarters, and weeks or other stuff. And the dimensions that we're going to take are country and query, and we get all the metrics for those. So we end up with, for every date, so this is January 31st, we get the two dimensions, page and country. Sorry, country and query. No, correct. Country and query, that's the second report. Country and query. And for every country query combination, we get clicks, impressions, CTR, and position. Okay. So just a quick note, this can go really huge in terms of data. So those 50 URLs, we have 205,000 rows of data if you want to put country query. So if you add one more dimension like device, this would be like 700,000, which is great, but watch out. Sometimes you might go beyond the limit, and if you have a very large website, it could get really, really slow and so on. Just to keep this in mind. And there's another report which is the same idea, but this is page and country. Okay, so this page, how many clicks, impressions, and CTR it got from each country? Clicks, impressions, CTR, and so on. Okay. So then we run all the code, and every cell. So this code produces this chart, this code produces this chart, and then we run it with Quarto, and we end up with this easier to read report. Okay. So this is a pure HTML file. As I mentioned, you can just email it and share it. So let's go through a few of the things that we have. So the first one is a country comparison chart. Sorry, let me just remove this. Okay. And because there's a lot of countries, if you put them all together in one chart, it's going to be really, really messy. So you can do this interactively. So you can select a country and see the traffic for this country. So these are impressions on a monthly basis. Okay, then we can add another country and compare. So one of them was growing, the other went down big time. You can add another country, and so on. Okay, and once you mouse over, you get the numbers for each country and see the trends that you have and analyze further. Okay, so here's a bunch of countries over here. I put like top 15. You can put 50 or 30, as many as you want. Another thing, which is how my keywords have evolved throughout this period. So let me just take you through a quick overview of the word frequency function and what it does. So here we have a bunch of keywords: basketball news, 700 impressions, football news, football match schedules, football tickets, and football stats. So if you just look at the top keywords over here, you'll see that basketball is my top thing. Basketball news is my top keyword, which is true. Now, but I'm more interested in digging deeper into this. So if I do the word frequency of the keyword column, what this does, it counts the words. So yes, basketball is my top keyword in terms of impressions, but in terms of appearance throughout my data set, football is actually much bigger. It's 4 times bigger than basketball because it appears in 4 keywords, and basketball only appears in 1. Then I have news 2 times, basketball, and everything else is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay. Now there's much more important idea, which is the weighted frequency. Okay, so yes, we counted how many times this appeared, but I want to give it a weight, which is this. So I'm going to do impressions, and now what I get is yes, football appeared 4 times. Okay, but every time it appeared, football, like this, 500 impressions plus 450 plus 30 plus 27, I got 1,007 impressions of keywords containing football. So my football keywords generated 1,007 impressions. Okay, and my basketball queries generated only 700 impressions. So on an absolute level, this is larger, and on a weighted level, this is larger. Okay, but news, even though it appeared only twice, it is the largest in terms of impressions. My news keywords appeared only twice, but generated 1,200 impressions for me. Okay, is that clear? So this is a tiny data set, but many times you have, like, for every month you have like 2,000 or 3,000 or 20,000 keywords, and you want the whole thing to be done for you. So this is a monthly chart, which you can go through the months and play as a video, as a racing chart, just to make sure what this means. So in this first month, my Python keywords, all the keywords that contain the word Python, generated a total of 323 impressions, or is that clicks? Sorry. Okay. All the keywords that contain advertools generated 246 clicks, and so on. Log, analysis, file, read, emoji, and you can play and see how things have evolved. Now advertools is the top word and Python is the second. What happened next? What happened previously? Okay, so this gives you an indication about the topics, if you want, that have been dominant in every month. This is the same exact thing, but these are bigrams. Okay, so log file seems to be the largest bigram. Read log in Python, log analysis, advertools Python, and so on. And of course, you can filter these. You can say, I just want the evolution, the same thing, but just filter the data set where only for these 3 countries, right? Or anything that contains a log file, and just focus on that and see like the deep details of the topic log file and how it works and how it has evolved in your data set. Okay. Another thing we can do is do the same thing for countries. These are impressions. You can do the racing chart and see how those countries are racing, the USA, then India, and sometimes, no, it's always the US at the top. And you can see so on. Another way of doing this is in a map. I'm just putting, all the options, and you can pick and choose what you want. Again, this is a video that you can play. You can stop anytime you want. You can zoom in and out any region that you want. Get the countries, double click to go back and see. This is the same thing for clicks. So US was dominant on impressions, but India is dominating when it comes to clicks. So we're starting to see, and there's a race. Sometimes the US is bigger, sometimes India. This is the same one, but clicks on a map. Okay, another thing that might be interesting, which is doing two variables. Okay, so here we have clicks, and here we have impressions. Okay, so India here is, in terms of impressions, not very far from here, but higher than the USA, for example. So that might tell you something about the click-through rate here versus in the USA. And you can see how this has changed. Okay, so if you look at India, the number of impressions is not changing very much. It's like on a pretty much the same level, but the number of clicks is varying a lot. So maybe something happened in my click-through rate somewhere, so we can explore further. And this is you can zoom in and explore interactively. Okay, so you can do the same thing with any countries that you want, and so on. This is for pages. This is not very useful here because this is a tiny website. Every URL is a different thing, and it's a tiny number of pages. 50 is the total URLs, but really it's like 30, 35 real pages with content. This would be much more useful if you have a large website and you split the URLs into directory 1, directory 2, directory 3. And this way you can see how each segment has evolved. So you can say that my sports segment of the website versus my economy or my shoes section versus my bags, and so on. So it groups all these pages in the segment, and you can see how they've changed in time. And again, this is you can do it as a racing chart and see how things have moved. Okay, this is for impressions. You can do it for clicks, of course. Query count is a huge drop here. You can see. You can look further. URL count, same thing. You can see, and finally you have the correlation matrix, which is a chart for every two variables in the set. So what happened to my clicks when my count has increased? So obviously the more keywords you appear for, the more clicks you have. So it's slightly going up, but not in a smooth relationship, which you can look. So the relationship between impressions and CTR, clicks, in most cases it's not a clear relationship, but you can explore and dig further. Yeah, that's the basic thing. Like the whole code is here. I'll share this and everyone can change things and modify as they want. What do you think?
This is great.
Yeah, thanks.
I have a question about the GSC API. Do you run into any rate limiting issues?
You do.
I noticed. I was going to say I noticed that you had like 250,000 rows, which definitely exceeds like the typical like one call. I want to say it's like maybe 10,000 rows get returned at a time, or maybe it's 70. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know that our team, like, because we have a GSC connector. And that was one of the challenges we faced. But it looks like you have that solved in your solution where
I
you have.
think Yeah, the limitation is per day.
Mhm.
So I ran a for loop, and for every
Yep.
month did this for them. And but again, as a reminder, this is a tiny website. And you might want to put filters and say, okay, show me the only data for keywords that generated at least one click. Okay, because like there's a huge number of keywords that have 0 clicks. But then again, you
Mhm.
want those. You want to see those.
Yep.
Or you can filter, like, check as an aggregate number, which are my top 10 countries or top 7 countries that generate 80% or 90% of my traffic, and say only give me traffic for these countries. There's various ways to limit how much data you get from the API. Yeah, but it can easily go very big in
No,
terms
this
of.
is great. I love it.
Thanks. Cool.
Just each one. I mean, the race chart. I mean, that was cool to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything above. Actually, that first table was one of my favorites.
This one?
Just to like, yep. Basically, you can see exactly every query that's driving clicks, and all the data is right there. I mean that would be completely useful, like to any site owner, just to have something like this where they don't even have to filter through all the search console noise, or it's just like one single report right there in front of you that tells you, exactly what you want to know. And like you said, for like a larger site, you could do a breakdown of the directory paths to see like, hey, which, folder count is driving the most views or clicks. So yeah, it's, it's beautiful.
Thanks. Great. Anything you would like to see here, additional, or suggestions,
um,
or you want to play with it first? And
Definitely going to play with it. And I think it's more of a limitation of the GSC API because it won't send. I mean, it only uses. I believe it only will respond with like reporting data like this. It would be nice if Google would update that API to like allow you to see like more
all
information of
data.
like where you've had problems with 404s or
Oh
issues
yeah,
with sitemaps,
I would
because I
love that.
don't because I don't believe that API has
No,
any of
links
those.
links would be also great.
Yes.
You're gonna have to export it manually, but it would be
Mhm.
great to see how my links have changed, every month. So last month I had 100 links, this month I had 120, and then I had 150, whatever. Like how did
Mhm.
do I have more links, less links, where from? It's there, but not in the API as far as I know. But yeah,
I would.
that would be
Yeah, we
great.
do it like we run it one time and then periodically we run it again, and then we compare like that.
No, I don't think there is anything in the API for links.
Hmm.
So this is what I did here. I went through a for loop for each month of the last 9 months, and for each month I said country and query, and then I merged them together. But as far as I know, there's nothing for links. We'll check again. But yeah, that would be
It would be good to put branded, not branded queries with regex.
branded, non-branded. Yes, that's a great
Yeah,
idea. Yeah,
yeah, that is really good.
we can add
And
it.
then I didn't get the correlation matrix. Would you mind to explain it one more time?
The
It's
last one.
interesting, this one. Yeah.
So this is usually the most important and the most difficult thing, because what we're trying to see here is trying to find, to understand
Trend, right?
the trend in a time series is easy. Here's the trend.
Yeah.
In Germany it went down, in Argentina it went up, and so on. But it doesn't tell you much about the reasons or about the behavior. So here is just the first correlation. So date and count, again, this is like the time series thing, but impressions versus clicks. Okay, what happened there? So CTR actually is a bit more interesting. So if I have more impressions here, is my CTR higher or lower? And it doesn't seem to be a huge difference, because I have 1 month here with 99,000 impressions, with this, 0.004 CTR, and here it's pretty much the same thing in terms of impressions, but the CTR is much higher. It's difficult to tell what's going on, but at least it shows you somewhere to look. It's similar to this one. Okay, this is by country. So one thing we found is that is with India, like it's mostly the click-through rate that's changing, and not like the impressions are pretty stable here between 6 and 10,000, which is a large range, but as you can see, like it's not changing as much as it's changing in the US. The US is changing impressions and clicks. India is pretty much at the same level. It's not easy to tell what's going on, but it's a beginning, it's a starting point to other questions and so
For
on.
example, if we want to influence the CTR by changing, for example, meta description or title tag, then we can test it, and then we see that if that it's making some correlations.
Yes, and before we do that, we want to first know that the CTR is going up or down.
Yeah.
Or that CTR has nothing to do with the number of impressions, or and you can. This is step one. You can do the same thing for brand versus non-brand keywords, because the brand keywords here might be big and might be influencing everything else, and brand keywords have a very high CTR. So this is one thing. It's the first step to explore and try to understand. And it's not like there's nothing clearly there. Like you're going to have to run this 20, 30 times, 15 times, and maybe something comes up, maybe not. Sometimes you see a pattern here, like, wait a minute, why is my impressions increasing but my CTR is not, for example, or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to add brand and non-brand and see. Well, by the way, when you say brand, non-brand, this applies to everything. So this chart would be split into two.
Yeah.
This is my monthly impressions for branded keywords, non-branded keywords. And so this should be very, very straightforward, because all you have to do is go here and filter where queries contain this string, or that they do not contain it, and then you just run the same thing. So most of these modifications are just going to happen by a filter in your data frame, country A versus country B, whatever.
It's great, but when we follow, for example, branded keywords, and we have some campaigns, marketing that is brand for brand, and we can see something that is changing, and we don't expect a lot of changes when nothing is happening. So if it's changing, it's some signals that give us.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I think it encapsulates all the data that you're going to get back from Search Console, which is really nice. It's impressive.
Great, thanks. Yeah, and you can play with various combinations of dimensions, country, like we didn't do devices, for example. You can do device by country, and in this case, you would have a much smaller data set, because all the countries in the world, like 200, maybe a bit less, and the devices are just 3. So it's like it could be a tiny manageable data set. Great. So you can take this and as a starting point and play with it and show the world.